Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Funny thing, how things work out. I was talking to my brother a couple of days ago and I was telling him, I have this bad feeling in the pit of my stomach that something is going to happen, before the end of this year. And here I'm looking at, the news and I come across this article. I'm going to go ahead and read it for you guys. I agree with a lot of the things this article says, but I'm going to go ahead and read it for you guys because a lot of the things here make sense. And the title is, if you feel like something really bad is about to happen, you're definitely not alone. If this is the recovery, what are things going to look like once economic conditions start to deteriorate again? Remember, ladies and gentlemen, that we're talking about we were going to have a V-shaped recovery, and the stock market for sure has had a V-shaped recovery, although I personally think that in its future, it will be going down and going down really bad. The economy definitely has not had a V-shaped recovery and is still on a downhill trend. As you will see below, more than half of all households in some of our largest cities are facing serious financial problems. And Americans continue to file for unemployment benefits at a rate that the United States had never seen before prior to 2020, when 695,000 workers filed for unemployment benefits during a single week in 1982. It established a record which stood for nearly 38 years. But now we have been way above that old record for 25 weeks in a row. On Thursday, we learned that another 884,000 Americans filed new claims for unemployment benefits last week. Weekly job claims were worse than expected last week amid a plodding climb for the U.S. labor market from the damage inflicted by this health crisis. The Labor Department on Thursday reported 884,000 first-time filings for unemployment insurance, compared with 850,000 expected by economists surveyed by Dow Jones. The total was unchanged from the previous week. Of course, it is always important to look at the non-adjusted numbers, and according to those numbers, we actually saw an increase over the previous week. This is the second week in a row that non-seasonally adjusted initial claims have risen. That definitely wasn't supposed to happen. We are supposedly in a recovery right now, and things are supposed to be getting better. But instead, they appear to be getting worse. At any other time in American history, the numbers that were just reported would be considered catastrophic. But we have been getting these sorts of catastrophic numbers for so long that we have become desensitized to them. But at least the unemployment numbers are not as bad as they were early this year, and other economic figures seem to have hit a bit of a plateau as well. So for the moment, there is relative calm, but it won't last for very long. If you feel like something really, really bad is about to happen, you are definitely not alone. There are countless others that are also waiting for the other shoe to drop, and I believe that it could literally happen at any time. But for now, we wait. I encourage you to enjoy these remaining days of summer while you still can. This weekend, put on some burgers on the grill and enjoy some time with your family. Unfortunately, there are many Americans that are under such financial stress that it is hard to enjoy much of anything right now. In fact, one recent survey found that 50% or more of the households in some of our largest cities are currently facing serious financial problems. At least half of all households in those cities, 53% in New York, 56% in Los Angeles, 50% in Chicago, and 63% in Houston, reported facing serious financial problems, including depleted savings, problems paying credit card bills, and affording medical bills. How can that be possible if we are in the midst of a tremendous recovery? Of course, the truth is that we aren't in any sort of recovery, but at least things are a whole lot better than they will be after the upcoming election. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in a recovery, but the we that are in a recovery are those corporations and extremely wealthy people that got handouts from the government at the expense of the taxpayer. Those are the people that are in a recovery. Those CEOs that got golden parachutes. All of those market personnel or market analysts or whatever you want to call it, hedge fund managers, I guess is the word I'm looking for, that are getting huge bonuses this year because the stock market is doing so great at our expense. They are the ones that are in a recovery, but not us, not you and I, the average person that has to scrape dollars together in order to eat, more than likely. Especially these people that they're mentioning here, that they can't even afford to eat or pay just basic bills. I had such an ominous feeling coming into 2020, and I shared this repeatedly with my readers, and now I have such an ominous feeling about the rest of 2020 and beyond. In particular, I am extremely concerned about what will happen in November. No matter who is ultimately declared the winner, the other side is going to be convinced that the election was stolen from them, and that is likely to throw our nation into a state of chaos. And we are already being told that we probably will not know the winner until long after the election. That period of uncertainty is almost certainly going to spark more civil unrest, and I believe that faith in the integrity of our elections will be greatly shaken. Before I end this article, there is one more thing that I wanted to mention that I found to be extremely interesting. This year, the Federal Reserve has been buying up mortgage bonds worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And according to Ms. Shedlock, the Fed now owns nearly a third of that entire market. Ladies and gentlemen, when you take out a mortgage, who owns the house? The bank owns the house. Now, what this is saying is that the Federal Reserve owns about 1/3 of the mortgages in this country. A long time ago, I remember saying that the Federal Reserve was going to end up owning everything because they are the buyer and lender of last resort. And that, in my opinion, is what their goal is. The Fed has snapped up $1 trillion of mortgage bonds since March. It bought around $300 billion worth of the bonds in each of March and April. And since then, it has been buying about $100 billion worth a month. The Fed now owns almost a third of bonds backed by home loans in the U.S. Buying the securities has pushed mortgage rates lower, with the average 30-year rate falling to 2.91% as of last week from 3.3% in early February. Morgan Stanley analysts pointed out in late March that the buying was running at 8 times the pace seen in prior episodes of Fed purchasing under programs known as quantitative easing. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, whenever you hear that word, quantitative easing or money printing or stimulus, what does that mean? That means that your wealth is being stolen from under you. I would say that that is taxation without representation. No matter who wins the election, the direction of the Fed is not going to change. They are going to continue to engage in exceedingly reckless manipulation of the markets, and that is going to have very serious long-term implications. All around us, we can see our society being thrown into convulsions as all of our system begin to fail. I know that so many of you out there are feeling the exact same way that I am. A sense of anticipation hangs in the air, and millions of people are waiting for the next big crisis to erupt. And ladies and gentlemen, what it comes down to is this. Ask yourselves this question. What can you do to change this situation? All I can do for myself and my family is to prepare. That is why I am such a big advocate of being prepared for anything. Because what's happening here, ladies and gentlemen, is what I've stated in the past. The middle class of this country is being hollowed out, and the end goal is that there is a two-class society, the haves and the have-nots. So the better that you prepare now, the better that you will be off to weather the storm that is coming. Because that's coming. That is exactly what is coming, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure that you're preparing as much as you can. Remember in this article where the gentleman stated that this weekend go ahead and put some hamburgers on the grill or whatever? Well, instead of going out and buying hamburgers or hamburger buns or whatever, go buy yourselves a 50-pound bag of rice and put it away. because we will be needing that in the future. So prepare now that you still have the time and the opportunity to do so. Having said that, thank you very much for joining in. I appreciate you spending a few minutes with me today. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Remember that tomorrow we're going to have a live stream at 12 p.m. Alaska time, and it's going to be a Q&A live stream. So if you guys have questions, especially for those of you that are new preppers out there, stop on by and ask your questions, and maybe the whole community as a whole will benefit from them. Having said that, remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. This is Alaska Prepper, and I am out.